motivated and change your socks. Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. A Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out. See what we're all about. There is a merchandise tab, but go in there. You can get you a cool shirt. You can get you a cool hat. You can get you a cool mug. You can get you all kinds of stuff there, all kinds of goodies. But go and help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing work. If you don't know anything about them, go to their website. It's tillvalhallaproject.com. If there's any way you can help support them, it would be much appreciated. And as usual, for all the Marines out there, those FMF sailors, there's a place for you once you get out. That's right. It's Marine Corps League. Be sure you go check them out, become a member, and help get those numbers up. They can go to mcleague.org. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, I'm back here. I got my special guest, Trace Martinez, Marine veteran, out there doing some cool stuff. How you doing, Trace?
Man, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on here. We go back a little ways. I got to say though, your beard is what I would call epic, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate your appreciation, man. It's good to see a fellow beardo out there. Huh? It's good stuff.
That's right. That's right. The bearded veteran brotherhood that we have going on. This is good. I like it. Well, hey, man, I guess let's start at the beginning. Where'd you grow up? What was that like? And then what drew you to military service?
So I'm a West Coaster. Grew up in Southern California. Typical childhood, I would say. Nothing crazy. I had the sort of privilege of growing up in a community that man, they really loved the veterans. They really loved military service. We were not really close to a huge base, but there was definitely appreciation. Mm-hmm. I grew up traveling a lot. My mom is from Europe, so I got to see a lot of the world, and that kind of early on got me interested in seeing the world and traveling. And so I think maybe that was part of the draw of just getting out and seeing things. My dad was a Air Force veteran. Neighbor was a Vietnam era Marine veteran.
Oh, wow.
A couple of those actually in the neighborhood, a couple Marine veterans. So early on there was some influence, I think, in that direction. But I didn't really have any designs. Honestly, growing up, I didn't have like a whole lot of specific goals. I think I wanted to be a famous musician, something like that. And decided to go the college route, and then realized pretty quickly that I was not a great student. I should have known that from my high school experience, but tried my hand at community college, playing music, trying to do the thing there. And man, I just was a terrible student. Like I didn't have what it took, the discipline or whatever. About the end of the second year, where I had mostly F's, a couple of withdrawals, like it just was clear this is not the pathway forward. Right. I started looking for other options, and I didn't have a lot. I didn't really know where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, at that time, I was totally burnt out on just about everything, even music. Music was my life up to that point. And so putting all the pieces together in my head, like, okay, what are my options? I had a friend that had recently gone down to the Marine recruiting office. I was like, well, let's give that a shot. Let's see
Nice.
what happens. So, 19 years old, like ready to go, just kind of let's see what happens. And so I go down, and they're like, "Yep, we'll take you." Pretty quick process there, but like I said, I was totally just done with just about everything. So I was like, let's do something new. So I actually initially enlisted under a logistics option.
Oh,
Uh,
no kidding. Wow.
yeah, yeah, just I wanted something totally new.
Right.
And I sat with that for a while. That was probably May timeframe. We're talking 1995 May timeframe.
Okay.
And over the course of the summer, I wasn't really involved in the delayed entry program. I was probably like the recruiter's worst nightmare. They're like, where's this guy? Kind of thing.
Is he going to show up?
Is he going to show up? What's going to happen? But over those few months, they found out that I was a musician. My recruiter did.
Yeah.
And he goes, you should audition for the band. That would be great for you, AKA great for him, So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Enough time had passed at that point where I was like, all right, music, I still love it. So they drove me down to MCRD San Diego, went
Very
into the band
nice.
hall there and auditioned. And they said, hey, man, if you want, you got a spot. So I actually didn't think too long on it. I made a pretty quick decision. They very quickly tore up my old contract and had made me
Oh,
a
yeah.
contract to get into the band field. And so I think
Now, do you remember who auditioned you?
I don't, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, there was maybe the very, very beginning of like the official audition time
Oh, I
frame. I
see.
think they were just still rolling that out. It was, yeah, it was a good experience. I was glad I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Even in the Marine Corps, like in general, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just knew I needed to
Right.
do something. So I think the draw was this is an option that could get me out of here. And
Yeah.
it's I know a lot of people have
Right.
that story, and but that's probably
Yeah.
the initial draw, I think, and having some influence early on of other veterans who I saw
Mhm.
that I admired, that I appreciated their service and just kind of the way they live their lives.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And so you did the audition. They quickly change you over. They got to get those extra bonus points there. And then at that point, when did you ship out for boot camp?
So yeah, not much after that. That was probably like August time frame, and I'm down at MCRD October 23rd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
they
Very
were ready.
nice. Yeah, yeah, they were. So, tell me about your experience going to boot camp. You weren't really didn't really know what you were getting into. So, was it very eye-opening? Was it just crazy for you? What was it like?
It was wild, obviously, but I don't know, man. I felt like I'd found my place pretty quickly,
Nice.
even not
Okay.
knowing. Like I didn't know what general orders were. Like I didn't know any of the history. I just kind of went in blind. And maybe that was a good thing. I don't know, but I was I don't know, maybe a week into getting introduction to the actual team of drill instructors. They were all sergeants. I had an all sergeant team.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but they selected me as one of the leaders. I think I started out as a squad leader, quickly fleeted up to the guide, and I stayed as the platoon guide all the way through graduation.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, they do the ceremonial firing every now and then, whatever, just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
change things up a little bit. But yeah, I really found my niche. Like I immediately kind of understood the dynamic of what was going on.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course it's hard and there's a lot of emotional challenges and all that was still the same. Like I don't think anybody
Right.
is gonna be immune to that, but it just felt right to me. I felt comfortable. I liked leading.
Hmm.
And so yeah, being a MEOP contract, at that time you got the quote unquote guaranteed PFC kind of thing
Right.
going on. But when it got closer to time to graduate, they're like, hey, you got a shot at being company honor man if you want to go up for that. I was was like, okay, I don't think I had much of a choice, but they said, if you want to go up for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through
If
all
you
the
want to
little,
go as they're pushing you to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Here's the door you need to go in right now. So yeah, I went through that, and I don't really remember the ins and outs of it. I remember I did well, and bottom line is they're like, yeah, you got it. You're going to graduate as a company
Very
honor
nice.
man, you're meritorious Lance Corporal, cruising down the parade deck there
Dang.
during graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. My recruiter got to come down. My family got to sit, up in the
The
reviewing
reviewing
area
it.
and all that stuff. So
Yeah. That's really cool. Man. So now you had your whole family come out for graduation then?
yeah, it was
Uh,
awesome. Just being close
Yeah.
to MCRD, and it was really great to have them all there.
Very cool. Now, did you get to go on recruiter's assistance, or you just do the 10 days leave?
I did 10 days, went back home. Um, I think that this is weird, but one of the clearest memories I have of my first few days back at home after boot camp was taking a shower and feeling the tile underneath my feet, not having shower shoes on.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing, but that's like imprinted in my mind. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, 10 days, just, you know, getting back home, seeing all the old crew again, realizing pretty quickly, like, okay, my life is a lot different now.
Yeah.
And what everybody else is doing. And so it wasn't really that hard for me to turn around and come back down. So my dad drove me back down to Pendleton
Okay, cool.
for MCT, and yeah, stayed in some leadership there through MCT. That was not the greatest time to go through. I mean, it's California. Don't get. I know people are going to be like, yeah, whatever. But it was like one of the coldest Januaries on record in
Yeah.
California, and so we're out there, like frost on the boots, kind of thing, staying out overnight in the field and whatnot. But whatever, boohoo, your stories of being out in the field. But,
People don't realize how cold California can actually get. It's especially right there, like on the coast. You
mhm.
get the breeze that comes through all the time, and it can get pretty cold.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable, rain and all that stuff, but a couple of weeks and you're done and you're off and rolling. Actually, I had to
Right.
think maybe 2 weeks or so, the typical like, hey, we don't have enough people. It
I
was
always
it
had it sit
was
down
it
and
was the
wait.
off season. Like our platoon in boot camp, I think we graduated like 40 or something like that. We were really small
Wow.
platoons. Yeah, it was just October. Nobody's really
Yeah.
shipping that time of year. So I had a different experience in that regard. I heard people like having way like double that or more. I was like, that would have been a
Oh
nightmare.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're talking 90 per,
Oof.
every now and again. It's a lot. So 40, man, your drill instructors were having a ball. They were able to get through the platoon quick.
A lot of one-on-one attention.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting that.
Mhm.
Wow. All right. So you do your time there at MCT, and then where to? Did you end up going to the School of Music?
Yep.
Okay.
Turned around right away. Went straight out to Virginia Beach, there at Little Creek Naval Amphibious Base, and same thing there. Just the time of year. There was no classes starting up, so got on the good old maintenance crew, cruising
Nice.
around, changing light bulbs and painting walls that don't need painting and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, for a good little bit too. Yeah, it was a good time. We had fun. Of course, Marines do what they do and make the most out of every situation.
Right.
But
Yeah.
stayed in that capacity for a bit, and then finally we got enough to class up and get the ball rolling there.
Very good. And now, did you have any issues with the School of Music? Was it easy selling for you?
Um, I would say it was easy sailing. I was a decent musician. I wasn't
Hmm.
the best in the world. Standards, of course, as you know, were a little bit different back then than they
Right.
are now. If I audition today, to come into the program, I'm not getting in. No, there's no way.
I don't. I for sure wouldn't be getting in. I wasn't good whenever. Well, I was decent, but I wasn't good whenever I came in anyway. So there ain't no way I'd be making it now.
No, not at all. But no failed auditions, no like threat of losing my job or anything like that. But I had to work. I had to
Hmm.
put in the effort and a lot of competing options, for time, going out and hanging out and doing all the typical young
Enjoying
Marine
the
in the cool stuff.
sights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And once the
Yeah.
weather warmed up, I got there in February timeframe. So by the time spring comes around,
Oh
people roll
yeah.
down to Virginia Beach. It's like, yeah, maybe I'll go there instead of,
Get to go down to the boardwalk and go visit all the places down there. It's pretty cool.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, very nice. And so you were there a total of what, like maybe 8 months ish?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.5-ish months or so, and um, got out of there late August. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then yeah, I think probably one of the main highlights of my time there was meeting a young Marine named Lance Corporal Davis, um, a female Marine horn player.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
kind of started dating a little bit, and
Uh-oh. Oh,
uh,
okay. All
yeah, yeah,
right.
little school of matrimony kind of thing going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
get married. She was ahead of me, and she ended up getting orders to Oki, and so off she went. And
Yeah.
I just kept on living my life. But turns out I got orders, shortly after that to the same place, to Oki. So
Oh, okay.
a
All
little
right.
little
So you get to
CBD kind of thing.
yeah, you got to go meet back up with her out in Okie then.
That's exactly right. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, yeah. Well, talk to me about going to Okinawa. I mean, you had said you'd traveled and stuff. Your mom was from Europe, so you had some world travel under your belt. But this the first time that you did it kind of on your own?
I'd gone other places on my own. I just had a lot
Okay.
of really neat opportunities. Really grateful for that. But first time living somewhere long term
Hmm.
overseas,
Yeah.
on my own. And I loved it. Like, man, Okinawa in the 90s of that time, before things were like really, really kind of cracking down and strict. I
Right.
say, there's always rules for people because of the
Hmm.
people before you. And I think we were the people before all the rules that that got implemented.
Are you saying that you guys may have been the reason for the rules?
I say we, the royal we, like all
Collectively,
of us,
yeah,
maybe not
collectively,
me
yeah, yeah.
specifically, although it was a great experience, man. We really enjoyed ourselves. Like, we worked hard, we played hard, but we got to see a lot of
Yeah.
cool things. It was a good unit. There was nothing, crazy about the leadership, or I mean, yeah, you've got ups and downs or whatever, but for me as like a young Marine, I didn't
Hmm.
feel like I was um showing up to work miserable or hating life. Like, it was just a good
Right.
time, and we enjoyed it. Yeah, that's kind of where our relationship, I told you about the old Lance Corporal Davis, like that's where we
Yeah.
never really got to dating more seriously. And we did actually get engaged there. We were up in mainland Japan for a music festival. I think we are in Sasebo or something like that, and
Very
there were
cool.
fireworks, you like the whole thing, and just proposing and whatnot. So
Well,
yeah,
now,
Okinawa
was
was
that
pretty
planned?
special.
Did you plan it that way?
I did not. No. It was
Okay.
actually, I didn't even have a ring. Like, it was just
Just
like,
spur of the
this is
moment.
the moment.
Hey,
This is it
yeah.
right here. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So now what were some of the other than that was probably the biggest highlight for you while you were over there, but what were some of the other highlights, some of the things that you guys got to do?
It's funny because when I showed up, the band was in Australia, so I
Mm.
missed that trip, which was a bummer. And then as I'm leaving to PCS, the band is going to China, so I missed that trip.
Oh,
Like, both
you
bookends,
missed
I
some
missed
good
those
ones there.
trips. But I just liked being there, man. Honestly, it was really pretty cool. We did go to mainland a lot. We went to Fuji a bunch of times.
Mhm.
Got to go into Tokyo and Hiroshima, and really get to see a lot of the country of
Mhm.
mainland Japan, which I really enjoyed. So the travel aspect of being able to do that, went to Guam, stuff like that here and there,
Right.
little trips. But I think just experiencing the culture outside of the Marine Corps, like really being to be able
Mhm.
to get away, like get off the base and go and just hang out, and having people to do it with that I really enjoyed hanging out with.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
that was really great. Got introduced to just the field as a whole, like what is a marine musician? What do they do? What are
Hmm.
the job options? So just kind of seeing, maybe what I might want to do in the future. So had
Right.
some really good leaders that poured into me, and I think established in me some pretty key sort of focuses as a future leader. So yeah, it
Hmm.
was formative, I would say, in that regard. So that was
Very
cool.
nice.
Yeah,
Now, did you pick up corporal while you were there?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty quickly. Actually, let me think. No, I didn't pick up sergeant there either. I picked up sergeant shortly after I got to my next duty station, but it was
Okay.
like a few weeks inside 2 years as a
Oh,
sergeant. So that
wow.
was pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, meritorious Lance Corporal helped out quite a bit there, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Very
sure.
nice. Now, where did you end up getting orders to after that?
So I got orders to good old Marine Corps Logistics Base, Albany, Georgia.
Okay.
Albany. Um,
Albany.
yeah, and my then now fiance got orders to El Toro.
Okay.
And since we weren't married, there was no obligation for the Marine Corps to send us, right? So
Yeah.
we
Oh,
fortunately had some like I said, some strong leaders that really stepped in and made some phone calls, and they got her orders changed.
oh,
So
okay.
she ended up coming out to Albany, and so we got married on. Well, I was in Albany waiting for her to come, and
Hmm.
I drove to pick her up, and we drove back, got married, stopped at the Justice of the Peace in Dallas, Texas, and got married,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
rolled into Albany, and
Very
yeah,
cool. Very nice. All right. Well, talk to me a little bit about your experience there in Albany.
I don't know if you've ever been to Albany, Georgia, or
I
through
have
there.
not. I've heard lots about it, but I've never
Yeah,
been there.
it's an interesting place.
Yeah.
The base, particularly, like it's majority of civilians. At that time, I
Hmm.
think there was maybe a couple hundred Marines. So
Wow.
we're really small. Like the band was one of the largest units, if not the largest unit on the base. So it
That's
felt a
crazy.
little bit like a small town, kind of like
Yeah.
living in housing, sort of everybody knows what's going on. It was a little weird in that regard, but but in terms of like the job,
Hmm.
we were never there. I mean, there is nothing to do for a Marine band in Albany, Georgia, the occasional
Yeah.
break. So we were gone all the time. Like we had a bus, we had our own bus
Hmm.
before all the bands had buses.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a garbage junker bus, but man, we were everywhere, all up and down the East Coast, all over the place, man. It was a constant just go. And for us, it was great. Like we didn't
Oh,
have any
yeah.
problems. It was good. And until my wife got pregnant, and then gave birth to our first son. And so now we're leaving him like
Oh,
3, 4,
yeah.
5 days at a time overnight. And so we had to
Hmm.
make a pretty quick decision on what the future is going to look like. And that was a
Right.
really hard decision, quite honestly, as you heard already in my story, like kind of on
Hmm.
a whim, I joined.
Yeah.
My wife always knew she wanted to be a Marine. Like she enlisted as early as she could. The day after the senior class before her graduated,
Yeah.
she's at the recruiter's office. She's in the delayed, like this was what she wanted to do
Wow.
always. But she saw I was on a career path, and she made the decision to get out. And it was a tough decision. In fact, she
Oh,
held on to
yeah.
that for a couple of years, like maybe I can, get back in, and maybe I
Yeah.
can make this happen, and that kind of thing. But super sacrifice, for the family in that regard. And I'm tremendously grateful. Like uh, things would have looked a lot different, I think, at that point. And honestly, like part of my telling my story, really, of
Hmm.
my military journey is my life story, and especially like my faith journey too. Like
Yeah.
up until that point, like I'm living a life that's pretty rough. Like
Hmm.
pretty self-centered focus. Like I'm all about me. I'm not really caring about the family, not really caring about my wife and my son at the time. And
Right.
doing a lot of damage really along the way to my
Hmm.
relationship. And so for her to make that decision in the midst of all that was even more significant, even though I don't think she really knew the depth of what was happening. it
Right.
was uh, it was um really moving, I would say, in a lot of ways. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, thankfully, I'll say thankfully, that that duty station was only a little over 2 years. It wasn't that long. I
Yeah,
got orders pretty quickly to get out of there, and that was a huge turning point, I think, for a lot of things.
very nice. Now, where did you end up getting your orders to?
So from there, I was trying to get to the drill field, and I was trying to work the system as one does,
Yeah.
and looking like it was going to happen to get some orders to the drill field. I waited so long to re-enlist that I didn't get paid. I fell out of the system.
Oh my God.
Actually had to get a hard check, like back in the 90s. They did weird stuff like that.
Nice.
But providentially, like that just kind of fell through it, and I ended up getting orders out to 1st Marine Division.
Okay.
So that was January of 2000. That's when
Okay.
I actually got onto the ground out there, and that next season of life was probably the most formative in all of my life up until that point, for sure. And then maybe even through the retirement time frame of the military. So much happened over those next couple of years. I actually ended up spending 5 years at Camp Pendleton, 1st Marine Division Band.
Wow. I didn't realize you were there that long.
Yeah,
Wow.
mainly because 2 deployments.
Yeah.
That kind of put a pause on all the movement stuff. But yeah, showed up as a sergeant to 1st Marine Division, quickly became the platoon sergeant. Really enjoyed leading as a young sergeant, and so I think a couple of things at that duty station early on, got introduced to conducting the band, like leading the band from up front, and really got a lot of reps in that, and quickly became clear like that was something that I wanted to do. And so I had a lot of opportunity to do that, and got to train under some decent conductors and some people who really knew what they were doing. And so that set me on a really clear path moving forward.
Right.
And then the other element of that was just developing more of my leadership. Like I said, a platoon sergeant, was really comfortable in that position, really loved leading Marines, and had a pretty decent group of Marines, a really young, like we were, very few staff at that point around us. So had a lot of freedom, a lot of latitude. And then, 9/11 happens, and then a lot of talk about what was happening here and there. We ramped up pretty quick to do a lot of training. So for the next year and change, we're doing a lot of training out in the desert, Twin Eye Palms, on the base, and then we get the call, hey, we're getting ready to go. So that was January 2003.
Right. And this is the first time that really bands have gone into combat in a while.
Yeah, since the Gulf War. And even that was fairly limited, shorter period of time and whatnot. But they told us we're going, and we load up. I'm a part of the advanced party, so one of the first guys out there, and we go out to Kuwait and get everything set up there, Camp Matilda, and wait for the rest of the unit to show up, and feels like the entire 1st Marine Division is out there in Kuwait getting ready to move forward. And then the call comes not long after that. We move up to the border, and then off we go, and push all the way to Baghdad. For those that don't know, in that setting, like the Marine musicians have a secondary role. Essentially, we didn't even have our instruments out anywhere. We were security, so convoy security, going up and down, and then perimeter security around the combat operations center. So where they were running the war from, we were right there, and literally in fighting holes, dug fighting holes with 50 cals, Mark 19s, the whole thing, and lived in fighting holes and tents as we set up, and the division COC would take control, and then we'd leapfrog with the advanced party and quartering party and all that stuff. So it was something.
That when you went through that part of the war, I thought that was a very interesting time because it's that traditional leapfrog. You're moving and you're constantly going, and I mean, it's a very interesting time when you look back at what we did as a Marine Corps during that time.
It was fascinating. Like, it had been so long since we did anything like that as a as a Marine Corps, and nothing
Mm-hmm.
like this to this degree, this far inland,
Mm-hmm.
with Amtrak and things, like doing things that they've never done before.
Yeah,
It
that they're
was
not designed
fascinating.
for.
Yeah, not designed for,
Yeah.
and watching everything adjust like real time, and
Mm-hmm.
move, not always with precision and swiftness, but to see the Marine Corps like shift gears and go into this was really awesome to watch. I mean, yeah, there was
Yeah.
some hangups. We didn't have, we got way ahead of the supply chain at one point, and there's no food, no water, no anything like that. Come
Yeah.
in, trickle in, but it was fast and wild, and we got caught up at one point in one of those real famous sandstorms. Like,
Yeah.
at Diwania, we were there for like 3 or 4 days, and just literally you could not see anything. You were just waiting until everything settled down in the middle of the war.
Yeah. So everything shuts down at that point. I mean, there's
Everything.
nothing happening.
It was wild, and we had guys in fighting holes. That's where they hunkered down for, like, as long as it took. It was crazy.
Wow. Basically getting covered back up by sand in the fighting holes there.
Essentially, trying to protect the guns, just hold on to, for dear life.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, you went all the way up to Baghdad, and that part of the country, that's biblical area, huge. So, was there any aspect of that you kind of saw that kind of brought that to life, if you will?
Yeah, once we got up to Baghdad and we kind of fell back a little bit as things were basically over,
Mhm.
pretty
Yeah,
pretty quickly, they started figuring out, well, what can we do with all these Marines, because this is going to be trouble if there's everybody just sitting around waiting. And so one of the chaplains started organizing trips into Babylon, which wasn't far.
yeah,
And so, yeah, we took a trip into Babylon, and the chaplain was there just giving like tours and showing us, like, I mean, this is like serious. Like, you talk about, like, yeah,
yeah.
biblical stories coming to life right there, like Daniel and the lion's den, like all these things. This is like a significant aspect of that time frame. And so that was really neat. And at that point in my life, I was a brand new believer. I had just become a Christian, like, uh, less than a year before deploying for the first time,
Right,
which was, I think, obviously God's providence in that too. Just, I had something to cling to through all of that,
right.
was really, really helpful. And going on that trip into Babylon really helped me kind of put um, some real pictures into reality. Like, oh, this is the
Hmm.
place. This is it right here. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I think the one thing that kind of really put things into perspective for me is, as you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing around, and then you see the one guy with his sheep, he's out there moving the sheep around, because you talk about the shepherds in the Bible and stuff like that, and I don't know, in today's world, you don't think about like you don't see that,
Yeah,
which when we were there, I don't know, that was very eye opening for me. Very interesting.
for sure.
Yeah. So, what was one of the probably the biggest like lessons learned or impacts on you for that first deployment?
For me, it had to do with leadership. I was a platoon sergeant still at that point as a sergeant.
Hmm.
So going around every night, walking the line from fighting hole to fighting hole, just taking care of Marines, encouraging them, trying to,
Right.
yeah, just keep them focused. I mean, they're tired, right? They're scared. They don't know what's going on. They don't have really everything that they need. I don't think, to be successful, although they had enough. um,
Yeah.
so I think I really developed a real desire to want to go out of my way to make sure Marines are taken care of in the most difficult of circumstances.
Right.
Uh, and I learned a lot. Like I learned quickly what they needed, what I thought they needed, from
Yeah.
me. Sometimes it was just like sitting down with them in the fighting hole. It's like, hey, I got you. Like
Hmm.
go grab a 30-minute nap real quick, and I got you. Simple things. It doesn't have to be this huge grand gesture. Like that, they need to know that you see them, that you're there, that you really are a man of your word. Like, and you can be trusted.
Oh yeah.
With them. And so I think that really stuck with me. Watching other Marine leaders at higher levels do similar things.
Hmm.
Company commander. And just watching people operate in that capacity was really made a huge impression on me.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. So, talk to me about coming back. What was that transition like for you specifically, and was it an easy transition?
It was a fairly easy transition. That first deployment was pretty quick. Like all the things that happened was obviously a lot happened, but it was over a
Hmm.
very short period of time. Um, Frustrating, in the sense that nobody knew what we were doing. How do we move that many Marines back? So go, stop, come over here, go to this camp. Like it was a lot of back and forth. Once we finally got back, though, it was good in the sense that. Got to be with family again,
Hmm.
got to feel like there was some sense of normalcy, but at the same time, we didn't know what really the future was holding for us. And
Hmm.
there was already talk about don't get comfortable because we're probably going back.
Right.
We're like, what's happened? We did it, right? We went up to Baghdad, we came back down,
Yeah.
it's over. Yeah. No, it wasn't over. So there was kind of that always that unsettled feeling of don't
Hmm.
get comfortable. And so we just kind of went right back into training and equipping. Yeah, we did some music stuff, of course. But it was very heavily focused on the training side. And as you well know, we turned around and went
Yeah,
right back in 2004.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Now, how was like how did the family react to your deployment, like, or getting ready to go back the second time?
Yeah. It was obviously I was here. I mean, I wasn't here, but from what
Yeah.
I was told, we had zero communication. Like there was no
Mm.
internet cafe or like letters. Like the mail
Right.
system was not really functioning. So they were watching on CNN and that kind of thing. Like so, their experience was much different. So it was really challenging for them back here, for my family,
Yeah.
for all the families. They didn't know. We
Hmm.
didn't get to talk at all. So going back in, they're like, "I don't know if I can do that again." Like, that was
Yeah, it was bad
extremely
enough. Yeah.
stressful. Like, if you have contact, I'm going, "Hey, I'm okay, I'm here," or whatever, it's a little
Hmm.
bit different. I know that people don't have that. It's a combat zone, but going back the next time, it seemed like it was gonna be different. It was gonna be
Hmm.
more of a, structured sort of deployment where there may be some other things that I wouldn't call them luxuries, but benefits of being there in a more stable position,
Right.
more communication more regularly. So, and that ended up being the case. We went to
Yeah.
Ramadi, Camp Blue Diamond right there. And although it wasn't like the safest place in the world, they did have the army was in there before us and had set up some
Hmm.
some resources. So we had
Right.
some connectivity back home, which made it a lot easier, like kind of more
Yeah.
regular check-ins. I think that was a game changer in a lot of ways because the first go around, it was just, yeah, you don't know, you just
Right.
you're waiting, sitting, and that's obviously difficult.
Yeah. Now, what was your like your experience on that second deployment for you? I mean, was it good, bad, all the way around? Like, what did you see?
Yeah, completely different experience.
Hmm.
First time around, we're leapfrogging all the way up and never stable, never in one place. This time we go, we're there in Ramadi, like I said, in Camp Blue Diamond. We're on one of Saddam's old palaces, so it's completely surrounded by a wall with like already guard positions that were established there. So we take up security around the towers. We're perimeter security for the camp, and front ECP, entry control point security. So it was a completely different experience, but it was also good. I got promoted, so I'm a staff sergeant, still platoon sergeant, leading out the
Hmm.
security element. So a lot of the same kind of like leadership skills being employed in terms of taking care of Marines, making sure they had what they need, and um, but trying now to fight against complacency. So now it's like, okay, we're doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again. I'm going to go sit on this post for 4 hours, and I'm going to go sleep for 8 hours, and I'm going to go. So a different dynamic for leading, but a lot of the same things that we acquired, skill wise from the first deployment carried over, and we had
Right.
more seasoned leaders too, other guys, that came into the unit that helped lead out with us, and I enjoyed it a lot. I felt like I belonged, like I had a place there, and
Yeah.
was given a lot of latitude and freedom to lead. And
Very
so
nice.
that makes all the difference in the world. If you feel like
Yeah.
you're being micromanaged or you're not trusted, it's can be a little bit miserable. But thankfully, we had a lot of leaders that believed in us, and I think we did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. What were some of the big takeaways for you from that deployment?
So I had the privilege, I'll say, of interacting a lot with the locals. So I spent a lot of time up at the entry control point, the access point to the base, and so
Hmm.
anybody coming on the base, we had sort of the control over that, and so we're there interacting with local business leaders, local people that are just coming on to do just various tasks and chores. So
Right.
I get to know a lot of the locals, and that was really pretty cool. I got to see really firsthand that these are good people. Like the general Iraqi public, like they loved us. They were very appreciative that we were there. They were coming to help us out and do things on the base and whatnot. So I loved getting to interact with those people, and seeing their response to us too. Like
Yeah.
uh, we'd set up a system that I don't know that we really needed, but we were using it to do like fingerprint scans and photos and
Hmm.
like retinal scans and all these things. So you've got
Yeah.
people that have never seen like anything that remotely close to technology, and they're like, you're trying to explain to them, okay, put your finger here, and I'm going to take a picture of your eye, and they're like, what is happening? It was just a really interesting dynamic for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved get to know some of those people, and they were good folks. And of course, you got other people that were not mixed in, which was one of the
Yeah.
challenging parts, right? So you got people that are coming taking pot shots, mortar attacks on the base on a regular basis, that kind of thing. So you're always on your guard, but I enjoy that aspect of it.
Very cool. All right. Well, talk to me coming back from that deployment, kind of like what happened for you and what'd you end up doing?
So at that point, as I said, I'd been there for nearly 5 years. So we get
Yeah.
back September timeframe, and I'm looking at orders. So I get orders to go back to the School of Music
Hmm.
for that time called the ULC course, Unit Leaders course.
Yeah.
So I go back, run through that course, and put into lap move to become an enlisted conductor. So that was a MOS qualifying school, and everything went through. And I got to switch gears, go from playing saxophone into conducting full time. So that was a good experience. The school had a good class. We cruised there in 8 months, and then I got orders out to Mar 4 Pac.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my first duty station as an enlisted conductor was with the Mar 4 Pac band there, Kaneohe Bay, which was just, man, it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
not just living in Hawaii, which was phenomenal, but that particular band doesn't do a whole lot of military related ceremonies and things of that nature like the division did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got
Exactly.
tons of experience just leading the band in concerts and go down and play in the community. We got to go out to Australia and play down in Australia. It was a sweet time, man. It was a really, really good time. My family really loved being there. We started out on base and it wasn't the greatest housing, so we ended up living out in town and
Oh, wow.
um, got to know our community really well. My wife worked out in town. She worked at a school as a teacher. Our kids went to the school there. We went to church out in town. We connected
Yeah.
with the community there, and we've got friends that we're still close with that are local Hawaiians.
No
Um,
kidding. Wow.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We were like brought into the community, into the family, really
Yeah.
connected. It felt like we belonged there too. Like it was one of the sweetest times, I think, as a family. Young kids, our daughter started kindergarten there. Son was like in second grade, so
Okay.
they were old enough to appreciate being able to walk out the front door and walk down to the beach and be on the beach in Hawaii,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
absolutely. Yeah, that's
The
really cool.
Yeah, the director there of the band was getting ready to retire, so he's throwing me things left and right, like, "Hey, you wanna do this? You wanna do that?" Like, not in a, like, "I don't wanna do this anymore," but, like,
Yeah,
acknowledging, "Hey, I'm leaving, and you're gonna be here." So, um, yeah, tons of opportunities there. It was really good.
very cool. And how long did you were you actually on the island?
Unfortunately, I got a little bit short toured. I was only there for 2.5 years because
Okay.
I got, nabbed to be, an MTA,
Mm,
audition people to come into the music program. So, um, yeah, I got pushed out to recruiter school. My family stayed behind until I graduated, and then got pushed out to 8th Marine Corps District, headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas.
oh, okay. You got to go to Texas. Yeah, that's a much easier go in the Texas area than some of the other regions in the U.S.
As far as recruiting goes, yeah, you got that right.
Yeah,
I had 8 recruiting stations over 11 states that the 8th Marine Corps District covered. So
did
my
some travel.
I did some serious traveling in that
Yeah,
time. I The guy before me, a guy named Rick Dangler, he was single, and he was traveling all the time. Like he's like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm out of here. I started doing that. I was like, I can't do this. This is not sustainable. So I tried to rework a system to where I was in one specific place like once a quarter, and that
Hmm.
was way more manageable. Actually, I went back to school.
Oh,
In
wow.
in Hawaii, I realized I probably need to go back and finish my degree, which I did.
Hmm.
Um, Also went through a martial arts instructor course there in Hawaii, became an MAI, which was awesome.
Wow.
I love that. It was really great. That was probably the hardest thing I ever did.
Yeah,
Um,
it sucks. That's not a
wanted
fun
to quit
course.
like every day. Like
Yes.
it was rough, dude. Yeah,
I
you know.
I always when I think about that stupid course is like every day you go in and you look at the schedule for that day and you're like, there's no way that I'm gonna make it through the day. And then at the end of the day you go home and you're like, I can't believe I made it to the end of the day. And then you look at the schedule for the next day, you're like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. Every single day up to graduation was like that for me. It was horrible.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and I was a little bit older too. I was like pushing 30 at that point, and all
Oh
these like
God.
18, 19-year-old kids coming in there. Man, I was punished. I was punished, but it was great. Like I'm glad I did it. Like that set me on a path to do some things that I'm doing now. But yeah, I
Yeah.
went back to school there, and then while I was in MTA duty in Texas, since I had more freedom, I went back to school again and ended up getting a master's degree in music education while I was on MTA duty. So
You
it
got
worked
your
out.
master's while you were doing it?
Yeah, dude, it was awesome.
Wow. And
Marine Corps
now you were there for 3 years. How long did it take you to do the masters there?
Yeah, it was like an 18-month program that I think I was able to do in just under 2 years. Like
Yeah.
I stayed pretty close to it. And it was great. That was a solid program. I really
Wow.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Who was it through?
Boston University.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Dang, good for you, man. I had no clue you did that.
Yeah, no, it was a great timing, and everything worked out beautifully.
Yeah. It's amazing you were able to do all that stuff. Being on recruiting duty itself is not an easy task. And especially as an MTA, there is a lot of travel involved. So, how you were able to manage the travel, the school, the family, all that stuff, at the same time, I don't know how you did it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the road time, right? I'm just in the hotel room, just
Yeah,
reading,
true. Yeah.
studying, writing. I just tried to capitalize on that stuff, and it worked out.
Yeah. Very cool. What were some of the big lessons learned while you were on recruiting duty?
One of them was the need for a strong support system, just in
Mm,
life in general.
yeah.
Um, I know other people watching this that were actually doing the like regular street recruiting,
Hmm.
had a whole different experience than I did. um,
Yeah.
but being gone as often as I was, and seeing my family, my growing family, needing community, um, we were really fortunate and blessed to be able to plug into a really strong church community, and
Yeah.
It wasn't the first time that I knew that that was a necessity, but it was where it became a priority. Like, we need to
Mm.
be somewhere where we're known. We're in
Yeah.
the middle of the country. There's no Marine Corps base around. Like, everything is kind of unique and different. We need
Hmm.
to be in a place where we're supported and encouraged. And not only that, that we can continue to grow. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to just press pause and just wait out this cycle of duty station and then try to
Right.
pick up where we go. Like, no, we need to lean into growing. And I'm talking specifically just in our lives, like as a husband and wife, as kids,
Hmm.
as the family, as people of faith. Like, we need to like grow and not
Yeah.
just become stagnant or just hunker down. So that to me was a huge takeaway. And we had two specific places where we really got to experience that and realize we don't ever want to go without this.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of growing there. That's good.
Man, like, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, at that point, now how long had you been in at that point?
Let's see. So I'm out of there in 2010. So I'm like 15 years in at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where were you going after that?
Yeah. About halfway through, I got selected for Gunny. I pinned on Gunny, and then they asked me where I wanted to go next. I was actually trying to get out to. At that point, we had some musician slots at Naples, and the
Ooh,
band
yeah.
out there. I was pushing hard to get out there, but as a Gunny EC, it wasn't really looking good. But in that same time, my dad passed away, and my mom was by herself in California. I was like, I need to get back to California.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up going back to the First Marine Division.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Right
so
back where it all started. Well, not
yeah,
where it all
so
started, I guess, but
where a lot of things happened. Yeah.
yeah.
So ended up rolling into Camp Pendleton, First Marine Division. Obviously, a home away from home for me at this point, but I roll in and I'm a gunny EC, but there's no OIC. And shortly after I get there, the acting bandmaster also leaves.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm Gunny Martinez sitting here with no bandmaster and no band officer. Just kind of was like,
You're
here you
it.
go. I was there for like a month, and then like, all right, you got it.
Good
That was
luck.
that was fun. No, it was good. And then we had, eventually new band officer comes in, new bandmaster, everything rolls. But
Yeah.
it was a good time. In a lot of ways, it was like, okay, how do we
Yeah.
not burn the building down, but still like take advantage of having no people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And then now talk to me a little bit about your experiences there. Now going back as well, you were there as a staff sergeant. So going back as the gunny now, kind of what was that experience like?
Yeah, very much different. Most of my time there, I was a sergeant and just leading out in the platoon area. A
Right.
little bit of a touch, while I was there as a staff NCO, but mainly through the deployment. So going back as a gunny, it felt way different,
Hmm.
in a good way. Obviously, just people treat you different, well, but
Yeah.
I just everything up to that point, I think, had prepared me for the next couple of years as I was kind of landing the plane. I didn't know it at that time, but um, yeah, it was getting closer for me to move to retirement, and things were becoming evident. But a lot of really great gigs, really more so than ever before. Like, got to do some really neat things. Got to take the band to France, to Bella Wood,
Hmm.
as that thing started kind of getting back into the regular rhythms. I think we were maybe the second band to go back. Maybe you
Hmm.
guys were the first when you were out there in Lejeune. I
Yeah.
don't know, but man, it was a sweet time. Really great leadership, like just really enjoyable. So when it came time to decide, like, okay, what's next? So now I'm at like
Hmm.
19 years, and things are starting to come down. Like, you're gonna get orders,
Right.
but our kids are in high school.
Hmm.
Don't want to move them again. Um, all the other slots for my job on the West Coast they're not going to open up anytime soon. So orders
Mm.
are going to take me off the West Coast, and this wasn't something I was willing to do. We were plugged into a really great church community. I was actually starting to do some things in leadership there, and it just became clear, like, now's the time to pull the trigger. And so we did. I went in and dropped the Appendix J, and it immediately, like, okay, this is exactly what I need to do. I had a peace about it, like, this is right. And so, yeah, kind of just played out the rest of my time there. And that was also a very formidable time, and just my transition into what I'm doing now. So during that time, the last 2 years on active duty, I helped start a brand new church here in Oceanside that was focused on the military. So a part of a sort of a collection of churches, if you will, that are all planted outside of military bases around the world.
Right.
And so as I retired, it made sense to just transition into that full-time vocationally. And so that was kind of the next chapter of life, so to speak.
Yeah. And what's the church? What's the name of it?
So the church is called Pillar Church of Oceanside, and the effort, the family of churches, is called the Praetorian Project. So that comes out of the Apostle Paul was ministering to the Roman guard. Like, when he was a prisoner, he was like sharing the truth about and the hope about Jesus, and they would take it through the Roman army, and share it with their brothers in arms. And so the idea was like, well, let's take that same truth to the U.S. military, equip them with that. They would take it throughout the U.S. military and beyond. And so
that's cool.
It was really compelling to me. I was like, that sounds awesome. Like, I want to be in a place where people know me and understand the unique circumstances and challenges that I'm going through as a military person, that are going to care for me and equip me and send me out. And so that's what it was.
That's cool. And how many, like, how many churches, I guess, are there? I'm assuming worldwide.
Yeah. So started out as a Marine Corps effort, like, hey, let's get to all the Marine Corps bases. So there's a lot of pillar churches around Marine Corps bases, but now that it's expanded, it's starting to grow. So there's 15 pillar churches, a lot outside of Marine Corps bases, all up and down. There's DC, Dumfries, Virginia by Quantico, Lejeune, Cherry Point, all up and down the East Coast. Now we're out into San Antonio, Texas, with the Air Force and Army.
Right.
And here in Southern California, Oceanside, Pillar San Diego, down closer to Miramar and MCRD, 29 Palms, Pillar Church of Okinawa. And then our next main effort is to get up to Seattle, Lewis McChord Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
Big joint base out there. We got Norfolk, Virginia. So yeah, it's pretty awesome to watch it sort of grow and expand over the last 12 years or so.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then so you've been working at the church since you retired then?
Yeah. In fact, I retired on a Friday, and then the guy that we started the church with, our two families, we sent them out to start Pillar Church of Okinawa. So Friday, I'm wearing the uniform. Monday, I'm vocationally pastoring this church, which was pretty wild, and probably not what I would recommend for anybody else considering that. Maybe a little bit of transition time in between.
Yeah, I can see that. But at least you were busy, and you knew what you were doing, so it's good, I suppose.
Yeah, man.
So what is kind of talk us through all the stuff that you've been doing with the church, and kind of, and you were saying your martial arts experience has played a role in kind of what you're doing. What did you mean by that? Yeah,
so the church this past September celebrated 10 years as a church, so that was a pretty cool milestone for us. And it's we call it like a hugging the parade, like a revolving door, because a majority of our church are active duty families, and so we got them for 2 or 3 years. So it really is trying to love them well while they're here. And like I said, of our experience in Texas, like, I don't want to just press pause in life while I'm waiting for this duty station to end.
Yeah.
I don't want other people to fall into that either. I want them to see they have an opportunity to grow and to really expand what they're doing in their life as husbands and wives, as neighbors, as coworkers, as parents, whatever they're doing. Like, let's equip you in how to do that well, how to do it in a healthy way, and then send you out to continue to develop that as you go from here, and just live on mission. Like, in a real compelling way. And so that's a majority of what we do. Like we really want to do that in meaningful ways. Call it long-term discipleship of highly transient people. That's the language we use, because we got people coming from other pillar churches. Like it's PCS season right now. So, we're sending people to other pillar churches. Pillar churches are sending, we might get some people from Jacksonville or Dumfries or whatever.
Right.
So we get the chance to pick up where the other people left off and just continue that journey with them, which is just
cool.
an awesome concept. And it's really neat to see it happening. And so that's our main effort, in the church front. And we try to get on base. We do some Bible studies on base, and try to have a presence there. And, but in terms of like the martial arts thing that you're talking about, I had a really neat opportunity to get trained in something called Total Fit Defense, which is a system that trains holistically. So mind, body, spirit. And I got trained and certified as a coach. We use martial arts and self-defense as the main sort of vehicle toward defending in life in general. So not many people, at least not in this society, are going to get, a physical threat come to their face. They might. You need to know how to defend yourself, at least be confident to defend against an external threat. But there are tons of internal threats that we don't realize or think about at all, like a sedentary lifestyle, right? Or negative thinking, or like spiritual apathy. Like these are internal threats that we all face every day, and we need to defend against them. So the holistic aspect is when we do a session together, we're going to train physically. I'm going to teach you some martial arts moves. I'm going to teach you what happens if somebody puts you in a chokehold. And then we're going to also discuss some like healthy habits, like what can you do, in terms of relationship development. And there's a story that's got some sort of principle that you can apply to your life. And so it really is holistic. And so I've taken on increased leadership now there. So I'm the director now of Total Fit Defense.
Nice.
On a global scale. And we're trying to find people who are interested in becoming coaches and leveraging that and using that to help people just thrive in life across the board. Yeah.
That's a really good concept too. With it kind of goes along with the martial arts program that the Marine Corps does. Because they talk about, to a certain extent, the same type of thing. Mind, body, spirit type of deal. So it's really cool that that's finding its way, and you're doing it there in the civilian populace as well.
Yeah, it's been a great journey, and I love it. Like it combines all of my passions, right? I love martial arts. I love helping people grow in their faith, grow in their health, in general. So it's a win-win-win for me.
Very nice. So real quick, if somebody is stationed near one of your churches or what have you, how's the best way to find you guys? And then secondly, you just done a martial arts thing. What did you call it?
Total Fit Defense.
There you go. Total Fit Defense. How are they going to find these things?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So for the churches, for the Pillar Church, I would go to praetorianproject.org, O-R-G, praetorianproject.org. It's going to give you a list of all the churches all around the world. So if you're stationed somewhere and you're like, hey, is that
it?
It's P-R-A-E.
Okay, I can fix it.
Yeah.
P-R-A-E.
T-O-R-I-A-N, Praetorian Project.
Praetorian. All right. Yeah. That was my my Oklahoma education there. I apologize there. Like
there
that?
PraetorianProject.org. Right. Beautiful. And then for Total Fit, it's totalfitdefense.com.
Totalfitdefense.com. All right. I'm going to see if I can click on that one too. Totalfitdefense.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. Well, we got it. What I'll do, I'll put that in the comments and stuff so people can see that. But I think it's a great thing, especially, well, of course, I'm a little biased to the Marine Corps, but, as Marines transition from duty station to duty station, there's, a place that they can go to for the families, for your spiritual development and stuff like that. I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I like it. Well, shoot, is there anything that maybe we missed that you would like to cover or talk about?
I just appreciate what you're doing, brother. I think the veteran community is they're not overlooked, but they're misunderstood in a lot of ways. So
Mm,
I think my only thought would be, if you are a veteran or you know veterans, like, figure out a way to get connected and plugged in to where you continue your journey. Like, that part of your life may be over in terms of serving in uniform, but man, like, there's so many opportunities to continue to serve and grow and be just a really vibrant member of community. So, like, just lean in and go for it.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I should have you on more often to speak intelligently on my behalf.
No,
That's,
no, man, it's all good. I hear you. I hear what you're inviting people all the time into doing the same exact thing. So
yeah,
it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's awesome. Well, hey, man, as we draw to an end, I like to do these fully automatic rapid fire questions. So if you're ready, we can jump into it.
Yo,
All right. What is your proudest military moment?
proudest military moment, probably. Man, my retirement ceremony was probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. Like, the whole spectrum of my life was all there in one place, and I got to experience that with all of them, and it was so neat.
Very cool. I like it. All right. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
That's one simple. Gig in 29 Palms. I'm walking to the bus, and I've got my garment bag and another bag, and I'm walking across the pool deck area. And the next thing I know, I'm in 4 feet of water, fully clothed with all of my stuff. And so I walk back to the bus, soaking wet, throw my stuff in the bus, and get on and drive back to Pendleton. I fell into the pool. I didn't see the pool, man. I fell right in.
That's good. That's really good. I like it. Man, I've never heard the fall in the pool story before.
Mm.
That's good.
It's a
Yeah.
cold bus ride back. Cold bus ride back.
I bet it was. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Oof. That's in any time, any frame, any.
Anytime, any frame, anytime.
Wow. I would like to be. Hmm. Wow, that's tough, dude. Let's go with Chaos, General Mattis,
Okay.
uh, during the initial push. Just any time in there, just to be in his shoes.
Yeah. All right. I like that. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
Hmm. Facial hair, man. Come on, it's not that big a
Yeah.
deal.
All right. No, no, no. I like it. I like it. What is one skill or lesson that you learned that you still use today?
This is gonna sound funny, but it's really true. Ironing.
Oh,
I love
that's a good
ironing.
point.
I love
Yeah.
ironing, and everybody else hates
Yeah.
it around me. I love it.
Yeah. My wife still, she like when it comes to ironing, she still brings everything to me and says, "Here, iron this, iron this." Man, that's one of the best things my drill instructors ever taught me. Because I use the heck out of it, that's for sure. Not
Yo,
anymore. I don't nowadays. I don't iron anything nowadays, but at one point in time, I did. All right, this I had to get even more specific on this next question. It's just kind of evolved, so just bear with me on this one. All right, in the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice, and what anthem would be playing in the playing as you're going?
okay. Weapon of choice. I'm probably going with Negan's baseball bat from
Ooh,
Walking Dead. The baseball bat with all the nails, and on it. That
yeah,
that's, I think, pretty rad. And probably one of my favorite soundtracks of all time is How to Train Your Dragon. And there's this power moment called Test Drive. It's just like bagpipes playing and just like this like rhythmic
yeah.
thing going. So yeah, probably something like that.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, what animal best describes your time in service?
Chameleon, I would say. Yeah, I've done a lot
Oh,
of different
okay.
things in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Now these next two is super difficult, so be ready. Which branch of the military has the sexiest uniform?
Uh, the U.S. Marine Corps dress blues.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, which branch of service is the best?
It's a toss up. No, it's not. It's not a toss up at all. It's the United States Marine Corps, baby.
I love it. Oh man. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Without a doubt. Absolutely. Yeah,
I love it.
no, 100%. Everything that I have in my life right now is because of the decision I made haphazardly to join the military and just seeing all that's unfolded and just God's grace and all of it, man. 100%.
I love it. I love it. All right, man. Well, we draw to a close here. I'm going to leave words of wisdom, anything of that nature that you want to say for the listeners before we close it out here.
Find out why you're supposed to be here on this earth. What's your purpose? And then do whatever it takes to live that purpose out with meaning and intentionality. And then, yeah, you can't go wrong.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Trace, thanks for coming on and doing this, man. I truly appreciate it. It's been great hearing your story, getting some good laughs in there. You're doing some great stuff out there. So keep doing that. And if there's any way I can help you throughout any of that, please let me know. But yeah, you're doing some great stuff. So thanks. And, you're one of those guys I always looked up to, from meeting you at 1st Marine Division. But yeah, thanks for everything you did for me personally.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for what you're doing. And yeah, I love this. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Absolutely. You bet, man. All right. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Trace cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to a buddy that you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Trace, one last time. Thanks, man. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.